My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And this is the, probably not first annual, first like biannual, fourth annual, however many, Duckfeed.tv State of the Union address.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before you get worried, the State of the Union is strong. We are just outlining and clarifying some things related to just various questions we've gotten about the way we kind of run things vis-a-vis feedback and also our Patreon.
Yes. Yeah. So this is all good, fun stuff for the most part. The Patreon thing, we want to make sure this gets off on all channels, though. Not everybody listens to every show. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure everybody who listens to the network gets this, and not everybody checks our Facebook or checks us on social media and stuff. Yeah. So we thought an audio format, if you just have a subscription to iTunes, we want to make sure you heard this information. Mm-hmm. It's not taking the place of any other show or anything. Nope. It's just, and it's also, if you have read this online or something like that, I bet you can probably safely skip it. Not going to hurt our feelings.
Yep.
So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So let's see here. Do we want to talk about the feedback thing first?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Let's get the bummer out of the way.
Yes.
People, especially people listen to Bonfireside Chat, probably know that we've kind of groused about people being shitheads online, just kind of drive-by comments and, saying mean things about us for no good reason, things like that we've complained a lot about. Mm-hmm. We've been trying to get better about brushing that off, but we're sensitive boys. But it is now policy to not respond or interact with any of that. So just... No, if you're somehow listening to this and that you're in that weird spot that people get in where they still like the shows enough to listen, but don't like us enough to respect us as people.
Yeah.
If you're in that spot, we're just, everything's going to be deleted. We're turning off comments on SoundCloud because that was a good place for people to just throw in drive-bys that were just mean for no good reason. And they're not good places to discuss things.
Right.
It's not a discussion. We're not shutting down discussion. We're shutting down fly-by insults.
Yeah. Yeah. So for any of the shows, especially the big ones, watch out for Fireballs and Bonfireside Chat. Like, we understand, we cover a lot of ground and we get things wrong. We always invite people to hit us up on the contact form. That is not just for talking about upcoming areas, but we have follow-up and errata for that particular reason. If there's something factual or if there's just something that you feel needs to be addressed or discussed, that is the preferred way to do it.
It's the only way.
Yes.
That's the only way that's going to get you any mileage from here on out. So Facebook comments will be deleted. SoundCloud
specifically negative ones.
Yes, specifically negative ones that are non-generative.
Right.
We'll talk about the distinction between that and actual just feedback in just a second. But if it's just I can't believe you dipshits missed this, show some respect or we're not going to entertain you or give you a platform. Just period. So, that's just the way it's going to be. And you're also not going to get an argument out of us. That's no longer the case.
Right.
So, we feel comfortable in what we're putting out, and I'm kind of sick of apologizing for it and kind of hemming and hawing and stuff. So it's non-engagement is the way of the future.
Yep.
For those things. However, like Cole said, if it's a correction, we legitimately get something wrong, treat us like human beings, but put that in the contact forum for the appendix episode, because that's part of why they're there. Mm-hmm. Happy to do it. If it's, so, and also keep in mind whether it's if it is factually wrong, if it's something where it's just I can't believe, I don't like this approach you're taking, just, work that out with yourself and your truth and decide if you want to keep checking it out. Because that's not actionable.
Right.
But if you actually have feedback, where it's hey, I think this would be cool, that's also a good thing for the contact forum.
Yeah.
And that will get to us and we take it seriously and stuff like that. But we're not, I don't know. I have no patience for being called names in public anymore.
Nope. It's it's not a weight that I want to carry around.
Yeah.
And we do take it seriously. We put it at the front of those listener interaction shows for a very good reason. That's because it's important.
Yeah. And it's not if you feel really, I don't want this to happen, but if you feel really strongly about it, you could, and you want to say hey, I don't like this show, you can leave us a shitty review. Mm-hmm. That's a passage for you if you feel you must express yourself, but don't, it doesn't I'm not going to take time out of my day for it though.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to express yourself just like it's okay for us to express ourselves. And this will also be nice for people who are just sick of hearing us grouse about it. Cause that's also the silver lining to this whole thing is it's not going to come up anymore because we're not giving it airtime. So it is a bad use of your time and a bad use of our time. And sorry that it took long enough for us to kind of build up that callus and figure that out.
Yeah.
So, so that's first thing, number one. Yep. And that's network wide too. It happens mostly for the big shows. But if somebody for some reason was like, I can't believe Teenage Dirtbags didn't like Nickelback, we're also not going to engage in an argument about Nickelback.
Right. Yeah. Just we need if there is there's an overarching message for a lot of this, it is we need to make better decisions about how we spend our time and attention.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
A couple minor changes that we'll talk about before we get into the big Patreon stuff. And this is related, but for people who patronize us, we do a bonus show once a month, which we go back and forth between something called Try This and something called Adaptation Decay. If you listen to that, Try This is going away. The last episodes is the next episode is going to be the last one.
Yep, the one for November 2016.
Indeed. Yep. So you'll hear that. Then we're going to bundle all those together for a reasonable price if you want to try them all out. They're good episodes. We like the show.
Yeah.
It was just more time consuming than we thought it would be. But we still, those are fun episodes and I think are worth listening to.
Yeah. And in general, most of the stuff that we end up doing kind of premium, those are going to be bundled up into seasons of 6.
Yes.
So Adaptation Decay is sticking around. That is fun and that gets good response. In addition to that, Exquisite Suffering, seasons of 6 as well.
Yes.
Kind of released probably about 6 months after, like the rhythm will become apparent.
Yes. Yeah. Because some of those are some of our best episodes. So if you like Abject Suffering, we want you to be able to hear those episodes. But we realize that money is a thing for some people. So if you can't, afford to patronize us at the level that gets, get you those episodes when they come out, we want to make it financially feasible.
Yeah.
To do that without simultaneously undercutting the people who do patronize us. It has to maintain some kind of exclusivity to have value. And that this is the compromise we're finding for that.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of time, probably about 6 months to a year, depending on the show. And it'll end up being bundled for a substantial discount. And you'll see that section on our store. It'll probably be called like bundles, or they're going to be a tag. I will make it very clear where those are at, where you can find them.
Yeah. I think that's what we have for general stuff. But everything is going well. It is a good union. We're still trying to figure out where we're going to do our live show for Watch Out for Fireballs next year.
Yeah.
For reasons that are apparent or will become apparent, like possibly not the Austin Classic Gaming Festival.
Yep.
But we're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
And keep an eye out. If you are listening to this, we're trying to catch you. If you don't check out Patreon post or Facebook or anything like that, we encourage you to do so. Or through the Duckfeed.tv Twitter. We never talk about that Twitter. We always talk about our personal Twitters.
Yes.
But that is the one that has announcements. So if you want to hear, when new episodes come out and when polls come up and things like that, that is the Twitter to follow.
Yes, that is at Duckfeed.tv. Yeah. So now on to some Patreon stuff. Yes. Something exciting has happened here recently. We've talked about it in a bunch of the shows, but we passed another milestone for a new show, and we're doing Days of Future Cast. It is incredibly funny, and I encourage people to listen.
Thanks. Yeah, it is. I'm really excited about it, and that's going to keep going. Probably beyond the bounds of the X-Men animated series if it gets a good response and people dig it.
Yeah.
We like doing it.
Yeah.
So, however, we were looking at these new shows that we want to do. Like, I think that Cole and I, as creative people, are similar in that, we really like doing new things. Like, there's no shortage of ideas.
Right.
Ideas are cheap, but also like ideas are great. It's fun to see if you can do something. It's fun to do variety.
Yep.
We want to be able to do new shows. It's going to require a little bit of streamlining some of our things. So we worked to kind of restructure our Patreon to be more in line with what people want out of it from what we've been able to tell, kind of where the listeners are, things like that.
Right.
We did checked in with a lot of people, asked a lot of questions and kind of came up with a way to change our goals around that is more like nobody is losing anything for this. But there are more opportunities if people want them to get new stuff.
Yeah. And just kind of with the goal being to, again, spend the time on the things that are going to yield kind of the most benefit for everybody.
Yes.
And what we found is actually spending less time on things that are kind of superfluous in the Patreon side of things and freeing that time up to actually really throw in on the new things that we're promising for the public, for everybody else.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the different tiers here, especially if you're listening to this and you are a Bonfireside Chat fan. Previous to this, there was nothing really other than the Slack channel that was good for you. So we've added some Bonfireside Chat extra stuff. So people who like that show will dig this.
Yeah. So overall here at the start, though, we should probably mention what happens when we get to a new tier, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So as we pass a tier, the I was about to say something really gross, which I guess I will just say. The Patreon total, it is a living, breathing thing. It expands and contracts like Peter meat in the pool.
Okay.
Yeah. But so people have kind of wondered what happens if we dip below the total for that particular milestone goal.
So right now we're at $3,500 for Days of Futurecast, but it's not like if somebody's credit card gets declined and we go to $498, then the show descends. We're not going to hold anything ransom. However, we're both past. I know, speaking at least for myself, and I think speaking for Cole.
Oh yeah.
Past the point of wanting to do free work. Because it is work to do these shows, no matter how much fun they are. Like figuring out that, like, hey, this is taking up the time and energy of a job. Why is that? Well, it is a job, and you should be paid for jobs.
Yeah.
So the idea is if we go $200 less for 45 days,
right?
Then the thing will go away. This could happen. People could decide they don't. It hasn't happened. Like our Patreon has grown. We get more listeners, not less.
Yeah.
But that's always a possibility. If it happens, resultant of making less money, we will have to look at other income streams, which will impact the amount of time we have available.
Yeah.
All these things are connected. So those are the cutoffs we've decided that would be indicative of an actual trend rather than just a minor flux.
And that is not a thing where it will go away without notice. If you back or if you pull and you are still listening to these shows and you're thinking, hey, why did this go away? That won't be the case. You're going to hear about this on different shows. There will probably be like rescue this show banners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'll let people know because, it's in our interest to grow. And I think it's in everybody's interest, at least if you're fans of the network, for us to continue growing.
Yes. This is our, the network is our end goal. Like this is what we want to do. We want this to grow as big as it can to be self-supporting and support us. Yep. And that's, anything that is within that goal that doesn't make us feel gross is worth doing. So we have a responsibility to kind of try to make that happen.
Yeah.
So 45 days is really intentional because that's more than one Patreon cycle.
Yep.
And encapsulates 2 billing cycles, which means that people, if something does happen, just a card getting declined or a card expiring, people have a chance to rectify that if they want to. And $200 is a healthy cushion.
Right.
So more than $200, 45 days, that's when a new show will come away.
Yep.
Will go away. We are, just starting our journey to the next new show, to Radio Free Midworld at the $4,000 level, which we would love to do. But this is not a sales pitch necessarily, even though I think that you will be interested in the cool things we're doing with Patreon from here on out.
Especially if you've had your eyes on the premium content kind of side of things, because what we're doing is we're making those kind of more achievable than ever in order to kind of really incentivize people who hadn't even considered this before to kind of jump into the fray.
Indeed. So yeah, go ahead and throw them. Starting at just $1, which we always say makes a difference, but it's true. So at this point, you're making a huge difference to us. You are Legion. There are a lot of you. So $1 gives you access to the Patreon feed, which is every once in a while there will just be things like I've gone on there and collected music we've done for the shows, little jingles, that Abject Suffering rap song, things like that have just been posted on that feed before if you want them. And then you also get to vote for Watch Out for Fireballs game selection polls, which we do those once a quarter.
Yes. Something that you're going to notice is not explicitly stated there are the blog entries. That kind of content is actually going to be bumped up a little bit further and made into something that we think is going to be more fun to kind of look at. We've kind of run out of concepts for those or ideas for them, and we want to kind of shake it up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them there. The backlogs of those aren't going anywhere, and you'll still have access to those.
Right.
But we just aren't really making new ones because we're running out of ways to say the same thing. Like, I think that Cole, like you literally, I think pretty much outlined the technical specs for everything that we do. And then I was just putting things I didn't want to write on Medium Duckfeed.tv.com there,
Yeah.
like pretty much like, oh, this is like kind of a review thing they don't have any other space for, so I'm going to put it here.
Yep.
But it's not, we want to find a different way to find what people like about that and put it somewhere else.
Yeah. If I get a wild hair to share something or put up a video like, hey, this is how you play the Bonfire Side Chat theme song, I'm not saying it won't happen. I just don't want that to be part of the expectation at the $1 tier. Yeah,
exactly. It might come up on the blog. It could also just be a Patreon post, or it could go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the $2 tier, this one is very popular. We've mentioned the importance of the Slack community here, and that is not going anywhere. $2 will still get you access to the Slack channel. Those invitations go out on Fridays, usually Friday evenings after I get home from work. So if you have backed and you are you haven't gotten one of those, wait and check and see. Also check your spam folders. There are a lot of invitations. Yeah, there are a lot of invitations that just kind of don't make it to people. I'm going to do a big wave of basically looking at all of the invitations that haven't been accepted, checking it against the current backers, and sending out another invitation just to see there. But like that is just something, like, email is weird, but Friday afternoons.
Yeah, and the Slack, we talk about the Slack all the time, and that's not to get your hard-earned $2. It's because we're both in awe of how awesome it is.
Yeah.
You will like doing it. It is really great, and again, these small amounts of money adding up to a lot. If everybody listened to this, listen to either of our flagship shows, donate at that level, it'd make a huge difference.
Yeah, we would really we would meet our highest goal in a heartbeat.
Yeah, exactly, which is awesome. And the highest goal is tons of awesome new shit. Like, you want to hear that Final Fantasy show, and even if you don't, like, it would be, it would pay dividends in the amount of attention and care we can give to this stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, that's $2. That's not really changing. You also get shows about 24 hours in advance.
Yes, the early release tier is being merged into the $2 tier.
Yes. So most shows 24 hours in advance. Sometimes they're scheduling things that make that not happen. But most shows, I think our record has been like probably 90% or something like that. Yeah. We managed to do that. Been pretty good about that.
Yeah.
$5 is Exquisite Suffering now, which used to be at the $6 tier. We've lowered that down $1 because, as we mentioned, this is one of our favorite. Some of our best episodes. That 50-cent episode is fire. So you get an extra episode of Abject Suffering per month. The episode will remain in the feed for a month before dropping to the store, where we sell those to the public.
Yes. The aforementioned bundling thing will be in effect. Basically, after an episode has been on the store for 6 months, watch for it to go onto into a bundle.
Yes. So yeah, it's just $5 a month. It's $1 less. One of the better values I think we have here, and a nice round number as well. You'll
also be invited to help us pick the game that we cover in that premium Abject Suffering / Exquisite Suffering. Those are monthly polls, and there's a lot of fun. They generate a lot of discussion about what people want to inflict on us.
Yeah, and also just to kind of since this whole episode is about transparency, the way those work is if a game has been voted more than once, if it appears on our suggestions more than once, it gets entered into those polls. So if you can still go to Duckfeed.tv / Abject Suffering and use a widget to suggest a game. If you're worried that's already been suggested, please do so, because that is a way for it to get voted on and have it be more likely to happen.
Yeah. Yep. I'm trying to think of what else. So you're going to see Duckfeed Live is no longer going to be a thing. Those used to be our monthly live kind of Google Hangouts. We did those for about a year and a half, 2 years, off and on. And those never really got the audience that we liked. They were a lot of fun to do. But you're going to see in the next tier that we actually have something that's going to be replacing it.
Exactly. We're trying to find something that, that's the thing people liked about the thing, but we can do it in a way that's a little bit better. So we combined a few different of those kind of underperforming projects that require the same amount of effort as things that more people listen to, but we're not getting the viewership. So $10 a month. There is a monthly premium show you can get, the first thing. So as you mentioned, Adaptation Decay is not going anywhere. We're still going to keep doing that. That is a show we do, for those of you who are not familiar, where we look at how TV, books, comics, movies have tried to adapt video games and talk about them.
Yes.
So,
it's a big hoot. Right now, the plan is to do twice as many of those, actually.
Yes.
So 2 shows out of a quarter are going to be, so every 2 out of 3 right now is going to be Adaptation Decay. We want to reserve the right to, if we get a cool idea for something else to do, to kind of like sub something else out for one of those. But as of right now, that is the plan, is to double the adaptation decay.
Yep. And that is, we've done, for those who are not familiar, we've done the Resident Evil movie. We did Doom. We've done a lot of kind of cool stuff on it. And they're pretty fun. Those will remain on the feed for 2 months. And then eventually we'll go to the store, as we mentioned, and we'll eventually be bundled as well. We're going to be buck bundled.
And the price for individual episodes is going to go down since this dropped from a $20 tier to a $10 tier. We don't have to keep that price high in order to offset.
And to do the kind of, to make people who are paying for it monthly not to feel like they're losing value. There's also a brand new thing that's going to kind of roll up a lot of our miscellaneary into one show called Duck Tracks, which we're going to do once a quarter, taking up that month's quarterly slot. And this is going to be kind of a merging of Duckfeed Live, which was the live stream we did, Waft Tracks, which was our commentary on the sketches at the beginning of Watch Out for Fireballs, and backer blogs.
Yes.
So this is going to be like a variety show, kind of, with questions that you can pose similar to before, but we're also going to talk about a few scubs, the kind of the background and stuff behind those, and talk about the inner workings of the network. So if you like network talk, if you want to hear where your money's going in that respect and actually hear us talk about the process of doing Duckfeed, this is the place for it.
So many of the questions that we got were kind of related to like network business kind of stuff. And so making a show that was kind of geared toward that was it felt worthwhile. That's not to say that fun stuff can't get in around the edges.
Well, fun stuff will I'm sure will come in because people are going to be able to, at this level, $10, you also get to submit questions or prompts for it. And like the kind of, Desert Island game, all that stuff is super welcome. I loved doing Duckfeed Live. Like the questions are really fun to answer. We just want to kind of roll up, all of that stuff together. And this will probably be like a beefy episode kind of thing too. It's once a quarter, so we'll have a lot of stuff to cover. And
those will not actually. So those will not fall out of the Patreon feed. So that this tier is actually only going to get more valuable as it goes up.
And this is not, we're not going to sell these. These are just going to be for patrons to know where their money's going. Essentially, and kind of know what we're doing. At this tier, you also get to submit questions for Duck Tracks. You also get to submit questions for another new quarterly show we're doing called Bonfireside Chat After Dark.
Oh, yeah. That's a meaty version of
that was real doot version of Careless Whisper there. This is after the people have refused to rekindle the fire. What happens to Bonfire Size Chat? I just said bonfire size, which is not I was still thinking about rolling up in Katamari before. So what this is a brand new show. It's going to come out once a quarter. There's some other stuff that's going to be about this we're going to talk about later. But this is going to be like kind of inspired by the specials that we've been doing. The kind of top 10 areas, bottom 10 areas. This is going to be prompts. So you can say like, what was what's your best PvP story? What is your the enemy that you wish had more explanation behind them? Things like that. You just ask questions that are about Souls and FromSoft and things like that, and we'll do our best to discuss them and answer them. FromSoft miscellaneary.
Yes, this will end up landing on the Bonfireside Chat feed. These will not replace any given episode or appendix. There's going to be an addition sometime in the middle of the week as just kind of a quarterly boost them up. Just
some extra stuff, and these will be really fun to do as well. And goofs are welcome here.
Yes,
too. So goofs are always welcome. And put an asterisk by this in your mind because we're revisiting this in a second.
Yes.
The last thing you get for $10 is a special thanks at the end of an episode of Watch Out for Fireballs or Bonfireside Chat. We're just going to go down the same list, working through both shows. We'll do 3 to 5 people per episode, and we'll call you out by name and thank you personally because $10 is not insignificant, and we really do appreciate it.
Yeah. So this isn't going to be like a big, long, like musical section that cuts into the middle of an episode. Just going to be during the admin. We're going to take some time to just make sure that those names get out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's probably important to note that so far all of these has been cumulative, and they're going to be cumulative for the next 2 tiers.
So if you back at 10, you get Exquisite Suffering and Slack and early access and all those things.
Yes,
as well. Now we're getting to the super hyper generous people for the rest of this thing. So with $25, what do they get, Cole?
Well, we're taking the physical goods and we're moving it up to this tier, and we're actually moving it to biannual. This is going to be easier to scale. Biannual, I mean, once every 6 months, right?
Yes, not every 2 years, every 24 a month. So just go ahead and throw your money down there and just hope that in 2 years something happens.
The goods will either be flammable or inflammable. It's up to you. Yes, so this is going to be just kind of a twice yearly care package for people who have given at least 3 months at this tier over the previous half. Just so you know, they're going to go out in January and July for everybody there. And it's going to be stuff like postcards, stickers, buttons, basically anything I can fit into a bubble mailer. I want to get creative with it and make sure it gets out to you.
Yes, this will be this is replacing postcards.
Yes,
which probably, maybe like I know people like those, but those were significant amounts of work.
Yep, and also work, significant expense.
Yes. So we're cutting down on that, but we're going to have other cool things that will come in this. Yeah. We also, now that we're doing, a couple live shows a year and, ultimately like may end up doing more than 2 of them a year eventually. We make booth materials for that stuff. We make buttons and stickers and those things that we have around. I'd love a chance to give those to people if they will find love there. So that is the idea behind the physical mailings that you'll get there. And again, twice a year, we kind of looked at other Patreons and podcasts, and that seems sustainable and doable. Yep. The kind of coolest part about this is that you will get the ability to dictate a game for an episode of Abject Suffering.
Right.
So twice per month, we are going to do episodes that people who back at this level just say, do this. And we're doing it.
Yeah.
So
this is replacing the raffles, and notably the physical goods mailing there is also replacing the t-shirt raffles. Those made sense early on, but right now they just kind of don't. This is a way that everybody gets a thing for backing at this.
Yes, and right now we still most of those t-shirt or several of those t-shirt designs we do have on the t-shirt store, and
more are coming, by the way, too.
More are coming. That's TeePublic, yes.
Yes,
they have sales frequently.
Yes, Duckfeed.tv/shirts. If I know about them in advance, I let people know in advance. Yeah,
but keep an eye out. You can get those shirts for a reasonable price. Yeah. That ends up making more sense than a raffle, which you don't even know if you get it. This, again, is also not a raffle. Like this is just, hey, I've always wanted you guys to play, Banjo Tooie for Abject Suffering. Like, all right.
Okay.
There are some restrictions, and these are mostly about availability and playability.
Yeah.
So it's not a question of like us just being like, no, we don't feel like playing that, because people who listen to Abject Suffering know that doesn't matter to us. But what it does is like if we can't emulate it. So if you suggest a thing that's like a Philips CDI thing, and we can't get it to emulate right, we reserve the right to not do it.
Yeah, or to ask for something else. Like we'll use
100%. We're not just fuck you. You don't get your pick. We'll just work with you to pick something different.
Yeah. So along with that, it's going to be 2 of those a month. We're going to do one of our picks per month, which may or may not be like a guest episode kind of thing, and then the other one is going to be a random with months that have 5 episodes. That other one's going to be random as well. So continue suggesting things.
Yes, absolutely. We still need that gigantic pool to pull from, and we can pull things from that for our picks too.
Yeah.
The ones that we pick will probably, me and Cole will, just kind of agree on something that sounds like it'd be fun for goof 'em ups.
Yeah.
It's important to note at this point, since we are making this transition, people who have given us, who have supported us this time. So people have given us $150 total since April 2016.
Yep. April was when we did our last kind of rearrangement and shuffling.
Yes. Yeah. Since this new kind of setup came up, people who've done that are grandfathered into this list. So hopefully nobody feels slighted. If you've already given, you're like, oh, I was really hoping my name would come up on a raffle. Well, now you don't need to worry about a raffle. You're moved to the head of the class as far as just picking a thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And you can do this just once and you get on the list. The list is going to be kind of first come, first serve based on if there are ties within a given tier based on when you started backing us. There's a whole little algorithm that I run in Excel given with the reports. But it'll get there. You'll be able to put in your pick. That game won't be able to come up for random Z's or anything. And we'll have a pretty good idea of when your thing's going to air as well.
Yeah. And if you keep supporting us at this level, which we hope you do, because you want those mailings, and also because most people, when we've talked to people, most people don't support us for the stuff. They do it because they want to. If you keep supporting us at that, it doesn't mean you'll only get one pick. It's just kind of you move to the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
So if you support us for a long time at this level, you eventually will probably dictate another Abject Suffering game.
Yeah.
But just other people, again, first come, first serve.
Yep.
The cool, crazy stuff is coming now. And this is at a level where people, this is very generous for people. And we really, we're not expecting tons of people to be able to do this, but if you're able to, that's awesome.
Yes.
So what do they get at $50, Cole?
Well, at $50, you get to become a Watch Out for Fireballs executive producer, which is a fancy way of saying that once a quarter, we're going to take a name from this, and we're going to let a person dictate a game that we cover on Watch Out for Fireballs.
Yeah.
Specifically for an extra-sode pair.
Yes. So this is something we haven't done since the Kickstarter for the first live show, where we've let people just literally pick out games for Watch Out for Fireballs, but people ask for it. People are just like, oh man, I would love to hear you cover this. This is a way to do it. You do have to back for this for 3 months, as we mentioned. This is to stop people from just kind of drive by,
Banjo-Tooie on both shows. Don't worry.
Yeah. Just lowering it, immediately, and then just kind of, because this is what this symbolizes. We're giving you a portion of control because you are significantly contributing to our ability to keep doing what we're doing. So we're willing to cede a level of that control. It's worth noting that we're not willing to cede all of the control.
Right.
There are some limitations here. Once this happens, we're going to start a conversation, with you at this point, where we're going to get a couple options from you. We can't do anything that is extravagantly long.
Right.
It maybe Kismet will happen and you will be suggesting a JRPG, and it's right around summer JRPG time, and we didn't have anything else in mind. And hey, Yahtzee. You can pick out the or Western RPG, like the times during the year we do big 2-parters.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's going to be, one and done kind of things, 25 hours, something like that. Like we can do. But those are really the only restrictions. Like it's not going to be us bottoming from the top or topping from the bottom, so to speak, where we just kind of, we're like, oh, I don't feel like doing that.
Right.
Go to hell.
Yeah.
It's just, if it's going to be something that we think would make a bad episode, or we think would be, the time commitment would be more than tenable.
Yep.
Then we'll ask you to pick something else. But again, we'll work with you and make sure everybody's happy about it.
It's really similar, to the Abject Suffering one, actually.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a conversation, and I expect people are going to be cool. Like that is, I have very few concerns or worries about this, but we need to be clear about this.
That's the whole point of this announcement, is just to be super transparent. So I'm not worried about it either. People who are willing to be that generous, I think, are probably wouldn't be trying to troll us. So
So that is 3 months. They don't have to be consecutive. I'm going to keep track of who gives it what. Trust me, I'm going to notice when somebody drops $50 in the till. And we'll keep track of it. When you get, close to it, I will, start reaching out. Gary and I will, talk with you, and we'll get it worked out. That is limited because we only do 4 of those per year. And so we want that to be kind of restricted, as much as it'd be nice if 150 people gave us $50. That is not realistic. And also that would just wreck things. So.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do it, you can do it. It might be 10 years before you, get to your thing, but that's fine, because that would mean we probably would be able to do this full time and would have to have a whole different conversation.
Yep.
But limited to 4 per year. The other thing is we don't want to give up total control, because we are very intentional about what we choose. And at the end of the day, we're playing these games. So we don't want to, the summer of sadnesses that we've had on accident. We don't want to have years of sadnesses.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. And if you continue to donate at this tier, you give us $50 a month for 3 months, you get your pick. You keep donating at that level because, again, most people donate because they want to support, not because of what they get. You just go to the bottom of the list.
Right.
New patrons can pick up an empty slot, but you can get this multiple times if you keep supporting us. Very similar to the Abject Suffering one. And that 4 times per year, the other function that serves is for people who are, who like the general flow of how we pick games now. That's not going away.
Right.
Doing I was a little bit worried about that when we started doing the quarterly polls, but that has actually just been fun and great.
Yeah.
So I'm into, once a quarter is not too much to cede a little bit of that control.
Right.
And then let's talk about the brass ring here.
Yes, this is the bike at the arcade counter.
Yes.
Yep.
So $75 a month. you will be what we're calling a Bonfireside Chat executive producer. So if you back at this for 3 months, again, it doesn't need to be not consecutive. You get to guest on an episode of Bonfireside Chat After Dark, which we talked about. It'll be me, Cole, and you talking about prompts that people send us, shooting the shit about Souls stuff and From Software, directions we want to see the series, anything that kind of comes up once a quarter.
Yeah. And there's going to be some flexibility from both sides about the schedule of the recording. Again, these are once a quarter. That is plenty of time for us to kind of connect about this. The majority of our backers are actually kind of here in the States. If you're abroad, I mean, we have so many guests from Australia. I think we can work it out. But totally. Again, like just if you end up hitting this or get close to it, that is going to be a conversation.
Yep. We record everything over Skype. So if something happens and you literally don't own a microphone, we might be able to work something out. I can loan you a usable one. Like we can figure it out, but you have to be Skype able. You have to have internet. That's really the only restriction. But yeah, this will be really cool, I think. I like, it is very fun to talk to people about Souls, just in general. Like, it's not just people who we get who are involved in the fandom. Like, everybody has their own stories. Everyone has their own takes. And I'm really excited with the idea of being able to kind of open up our guest structure to encapsulate people, who of all kinds, all stripes.
So this is something that we think is going to be really fun, really valuable, and kind of highly coveted. So that's why I put it up here. And gosh, good on you if you do this, because that kind of support makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's crazy appreciated. And we want you to, and if you have a podcast or anything like that and you come on and you want to plug it and stuff like that, like all of the normal things we're not monsters. Like all of the normal stuff will apply. So if you have a show or a project or something like that, this might be a way to get the word out, as well. And then again, I don't feel like this even really needs to be discussed, but when I say stuff like that, like obviously we're not going to endorse anything that is like hateful or otherwise untoward, but within reason. Again, it'll be a discussion, but it's a discussion that I want to have, and I trust people who are fans of the show to be on the reasonable side of that.
Yes.
This is not cumulative with the last tier.
Right.
It is cumulative with, $25 or $10 and under at least. Yeah. So like you're still going to get the premium shows, you're still going to get the Slack and all that jazz.
Yeah. And I'm fine even saying like, hey, $25. You can pick an Abject Suffering every year too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's if you're, not everybody who listens to Bonfireside Chat is into Abject Suffering, but if you want to, I'm totally down.
Yeah.
But it's not cumulative with the Watch Out for Fireballs pick. It is an either or proposition. So.
Yeah. And then once again, 4 of those per year, that is limited, just like the WAF one is for similar reasons.
Yeah. And again, if you continue to support at that level, you can get on the list twice. You just go at the end of the line for people who have done so, get to go before you. But again, if you continue to support us at that level, which we really appreciate, we'll have you back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of this is exciting. Like thinking about this and being able to kind of change this as we go has been good. It's been fun to experiment with this and see how it rolls out.
Yeah. We recognize that we've been kind of, squirmy worms as far as the Patreon goes. Like some Patreons just kind of set up and just kind of cruise. It was an experiment starting out doing it and figuring out what was tenable kind of in theory and what made the most sense. And some things, that we put out there, people did react to or didn't react to, kind of depending. And we didn't really have a way to know, but it would be foolish to kind of continue the same actions in light of new information. It's foolish to just continuously make the same decision and not listen to, when things are changing. So this is our attempt to kind of change with finding a way that the amount of value we provide and the amount of input we put in are reasonable and commensurate. And then also to get people who listen to Bonfireside Chat, which is like a huge part of the network that we have never tried to appeal to or anything. So like previous, if you were just a Bonfireside Chat fan, which that happens, like people were not interested in old games, there was, other than the Slack and the early release, there wasn't really anything for you on the Patreon, and we want to change that.
Yeah.
So.
So we designed this with kind of making sure that everything either stayed at the same price or changed substantially for the positive if we moved it up. So if you're backing at something, if anything goes away, it's going to be it's being replaced with something else that we think is really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So hopefully you stick with us. Hopefully people who listen to this, more of you will join us. This sounds interesting to you. I'm really interested in talking to you about this stuff. Like, I want to talk about discussions of what games to do with people and talk to people about Dark Souls and stuff. So this is exciting.
Yeah. There are a couple of implementation details around this. We are announcing this early, actually purposefully, so everybody can kind of take action if they want to. So this is coming out on or around the 14th of October. This change is going to go live and go into effect on November the 1st. Everybody, if your tier goes away, you're going to, so your donation amount is going to stay the same, but you will need to go in and reselect a different reward tier. I would encourage everybody to go in and look at the new offerings, check and adjust things as they go, in order to make sure kind of that you have this uninterrupted service as it goes. Let me think here. Anybody who backs in October, the old reward structures still apply. So, like, you're going to be getting your postcard in December, things like that. And then, November forward, that all kind of sticks around.
Yes. Yeah. And we're very open. Just let us know if you have any questions or concerns about any of this.
Yeah.
Just hit us up, because the door is open.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of this is transparency. Like, you're giving us your money or listenership, either or, and we want to let you know where that's going. So, yeah.
So these are exciting times. I've said that as a joke a couple of times today in relation to technology. Whenever Skype updates, it's exciting times. But actually it is. Like, as we start meeting these goals, and as we start doing more and kind of like more diverse things, again, the ability to reevaluate this is invaluable in order to make sure that it is best for everybody.
Yes. Yeah. So thanks for sticking with us. And, if you do want to hit up, become a patron, if you're not one, it's patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. All this information will be there, along with like a very out of date, but still kind of funny pitch video, I think. How about that? I no longer have the wizard beard. That was a deeply existential crisis beard. That was me being very depressed at my job. And it was like a protest beard that I no longer have. But if you want to see what I looked like as a fat wizard, that is the place to do it. Yeah.
Yep. So we appreciate everybody. Thank you for sticking around. I hope this wasn't just a commercial. I hope that it provided some information. If it was a commercial, I hope it works.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was entertaining. So until next time, watch out for Umbasa.
Thank you.
What's that? Yeah, thank you. Thank you works.
Watch out for gratitude.
Who is thank you, dog?